What happens when a perfectly planned live television interview unravels in real time? When the charm, control, and polish give way to raw tension no one saw coming? When years of restrained emotion finally break loose under the bright studio lights? Today we're revisiting one of the most unforgettable moments in daytime TV. An interview so combustible it ended with security on standby and a guest being escorted off set. It all began like any other morning at Live with Kelly and Mark in New York City. The studio buzzed with energy, producers checking sound, stagehands adjusting lights, and Kelly Ripa reviewing her cue cards for what was supposed to be a routine promotional chat. The guest was expected to discuss her latest charity work and upcoming projects. Nothing controversial, nothing risky. Then she arrived. Her entourage swept through the hallway with the precision of a film crew, requesting last-minute lighting changes and disputing the preset seating arrangement. "I need to approve every camera angle," the guest insisted to the stage manager. "And I want to see all the questions before we go live. No surprises." From her dressing room, Kelly overheard the exchange, arching an eyebrow. In her decades, on air she'd encountered divas and perfectionists alike. But there was something different here, something calculated. The stage manager tried to diffuse the tension. "Our show runs best when it feels natural," he said gently. "Kelly and Mark have a gift for keeping things easy and conversational." "Conversational?" the guest repeated with a faint scoff. "I've seen what you call conversational. I prefer control." Kelly stepped out, smile warm but eyes alert. "Good morning. So happy to have you here," she said, extending a hand. "Yes," the guest replied with a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. "I just hope we stick to what we agreed on. No off-the-cuff surprises." "Of course," Kelly replied smoothly. "Though, honestly, some of our best moments happen when the conversation just flows." "I prefer structure," the guest said flatly. "Spontaneity is overrated." Mark entered just then, cheerful and composed. "Ladies, we're live in 10. Ready for a great show?" "I certainly hope so," the guest replied. "I trust you'll both be professional enough to respect boundaries." Kelly and Mark exchanged a glance that said everything. They'd handled difficult interviews before. But something about this one felt different. A little too tense. A little too rehearsed. As the countdown hit 0, the lights came up and the cameras rolled. "Welcome back," Kelly beamed at the audience. "Our next guest needs no introduction. She's here to talk about her latest foundation work and the causes close to her heart." "Thank you for having me," the guest said, her smile carefully measured. Kelly followed the agreed-upon script. "You've been doing incredible work with several organizations recently. Tell us about that." The guest nodded. "Charity has always been deeply personal to me. I believe when you're given a platform, you're responsible for using it to make the world better." Mark leaned in supportively. "That's a wonderful mission. Any projects you're especially proud of right now?" As she launched into her answer, her tone carried the precision of a press release. Every phrase felt polished, every pause intentional. Kelly noticed it immediately. The performance beneath the sincerity. It wasn't conversation. It was control, disguised as authenticity. And that's when everything started to shift. "Responsibly," Kelly echoed softly, her tone calm yet probing. "That's something a lot of people in the spotlight wrestle with. How do you stay authentic when the world expects perfection?" The guest's posture stiffened, her smile tightening just enough for the cameras to miss it. "Authenticity," she said carefully, "means staying true to your values, no matter what others demand of you." "Absolutely," Kelly agreed smoothly. Though I imagine it must get complicated when everyone has their own idea of what those values should be. The air in the studio cooled. A flicker crossed the guest's face before she replied, voice cool but clipped. I'm not sure I understand what you're implying, Kelly. Kelly sensed a crossroads. These were the moments that made live TV electric. The line between real conversation and confrontation. She took a breath. I just mean that it's hard for anyone in the public eye to balance staying true to themselves while adapting to changing expectations. The guest's tone sharpened like glass. Are you suggesting I've compromised my authenticity? A ripple of discomfort passed through the audience. Mark stepped in, smiling diplomatically. I think what Kelly means is that we all face those challenges in one way or another. But the guest wasn't listening to Mark. Her gaze stayed locked on Kelly, eyes narrowing. No, I'd like her to clarify exactly what she's implying. Kelly felt every camera, every audience member, every producer in the control room watching. One wrong word, and the entire interview could collapse. I'm not implying anything, she said evenly. I'm only acknowledging that being in the public eye brings pressures most people can't imagine. The guest let out a brittle laugh. Unique pressures, sure, though some people handle those pressures better than others. Mark leaned forward, voice light and practiced. Speaking of handling pressure, your latest project really demonstrates incredible focus and resilience. But she cut him off, her attention still fixed on Kelly. You know what fascinates me, Kelly. How some people in this business make little digs while pretending it's just friendly conversation. A hush fell over the studio. Even the cameras seemed to hesitate. From the control booth, the producer frantically motioned to cut to commercial. But Kelly lifted a discreet hand. She wanted to keep going. I'm genuinely confused about what dig you think I've made, she replied, her tone still measured but edged with steel. I was speaking about the universal challenge of maintaining authenticity. It's something I deal with every single day. Every single day, the guest repeated mockingly. From your comfortable studio, with your adoring audience and your softball questions. Tell me, Kelly, what do you know about real pressure? The words hit like a slap. The audience gasped. Kelly's composure flickered. Just for a second. Real pressure? She repeated quietly, then steadied her voice. I've been doing live television for over 20 years. I've interviewed world leaders, covered tragedies, and handled breaking news in real time. I've also dealt with guests who come in looking to create drama that doesn't exist. The guest's mask slipped completely. Create drama? You've been taking passive-aggressive shots at me since I walked in, and now you want to play the victim? I haven't taken any shots at anyone, Kelly said firmly, her warmth now replaced with calm precision. I've asked standard questions. If you're hearing attacks in them, perhaps that says more about your state of mind than my intent. My state of mind? The guest's voice rose, sharp and trembling with fury. Are you actually psychoanalyzing me on live television? Mark jumped in again. Ladies, maybe we should just... No, Mark, the guest snapped, turning toward him before glaring back at Kelly. Your wife seems to think she knows everything about my character, my authenticity, my mental state. I'd love to hear her elaborate. Kelly's patience was thinning. She inhaled slowly. I don't presume to know anything about your character beyond what you've chosen to share publicly. But I am starting to understand why you were so anxious about unplanned conversation. The guest shot to her feet, her microphone wire tugging hard against her jacket. What is that supposed to mean? It means, Kelly said, standing too, her tone cool but unwavering, that authentic conversation requires a level of confidence and comfort that not everyone has. Vulnerability, Kelly continued, her tone calm but firm, is the heart of any honest conversation. When someone insists on controlling every detail, It usually means they're afraid of what might slip out if they just let go. The studio seemed to tighten around them. The tension was palpable. Two powerful women facing off in a battle that was no longer about questions or answers, but pride. Afraid. The guest let out a sharp, humorless laugh. You think I'm afraid of you? Of this little fantasy world where everyone smiles and pretends everything's perfect. Kelly's eyes didn't waver. I think you're afraid of being seen as anything but perfect. You've built an image so carefully that even a hint of authenticity feels like a threat. The guest's composure cracked. Oh, that's rich. You want to talk about authenticity? Let's talk about how you built your career. America's sweetheart, smiling to everyone's face while throwing shade at anyone who doesn't fit your idea of appropriate. I built my career, Kelly snapped, her voice sharper now, on professionalism and respect, even when my guests come in acting like royalty, treating my staff like props, and making demands that would make a diva blush. Diva, the guest hissed, stepping closer. Did you just call me a diva? On live television? I said your behavior was diva-like. Kelly replied evenly. If that hits a nerve, maybe ask yourself why. The audience froze, some in awe, others in disbelief. You could feel the energy in the room, thick as storm clouds. Mark sat motionless, his hand hovering near his cue cards, eyes darting between them like a man watching an explosion in slow motion. You know what, Kelly? The guest said finally, her voice laced with venom. You can keep your perfect studio, your perfect smile, your perfect little life. At least I don't pretend to be something I'm not. And what exactly do you think I'm pretending to be? Kelly shot back. Nice, the guest spat. You hide behind that sweet persona while you tear people down, bit by bit, with your passive-aggressive comments and your fake moral superiority. Kelly's patience snapped. You know what's not nice? She fired back, walking into someone's workplace, treating the crew like servants, and then attacking the host because the conversation doesn't fit your script. Attacking you? The guest shouted. You've been provoking me since the second I sat down. I asked about your charity work and authenticity. Kelly's voice rose to match hers now. If those sound like attacks to you, maybe you should ask yourself why. Chaos erupted. Audience members whispered, some standing just to get a better view. The crew was scrambling, the producer shouting orders through the headset. Cut to commercial, get security, anything. But it was too late. The guest leaned forward, eyes blazing. You know what I think, Kelly? You've been in this fake little bubble for so long, you've forgotten what real people sound like. Real people don't kiss your feet when they walk through the door. Kelly's expression hardened. Real people, she said slowly, don't show up to someone else's set barking orders and belittling everyone around them. Real people understand respect. The guest let out a bitter laugh. Respect? Like the respect you've shown me. By questioning my character and implying I'm fake. I never said you were fake. Kelly shot back, her tone like a blade now. But your reaction to simple questions makes me wonder what exactly you're trying so hard to hide. That landed like a bomb. The guest froze. The entire studio went dead silent. No whispers, no shuffling. Just the steady hum of live cameras capturing every breath. What I'm hiding, she said finally, her voice low, dangerous. You really want to go there, Kelly? Mark stood up slightly, his hand raised. Okay, I think we all need to take a breath. This is getting... No, Mark. The guest interrupted, whipping toward him. Your wife opened this door. She wants to talk about what people are hiding. Fine, let's talk. A chill went through the room. Kelly met her stare, unflinching. I'm not hiding anything. I've been open about who I am and what I stand for. Open? The guest repeated with a poisonous smile. You sit here every morning pretending to be America's perfect hostess, but everyone in this industry knows the truth about who you really are, off camera. The audience gasped, audibly this time. The line had been crossed. The cameras were still rolling, and for the first time in her career, Kelly Ripa looked like she wasn't sure if she was still hosting a show or surviving one. The tension in the studio was suffocating. And what exactly am I really like? Kelly demanded, her voice trembling with restrained fury. You're a control freak who can't stand losing power. The guest shot back. You manipulate, you guilt trip, and you hide behind your fake smile while tearing others down to protect your image. Kelly's expression hardened. You don't know me. You stormed in here, disrespected my staff, and turned a normal interview into a circus. Normal? The guest shrieked. You've been humiliating me since the second I walked in. The only person humiliating you is yourself. Kelly snapped. Your behavior has been disgraceful. Honestly, I'm embarrassed for you. The guest's face flushed red with rage. How dare you judge me? You have no idea what I've been through. I know entitlement when I see it, Kelly retorted. You came here expecting the world to revolve around you. This isn't your therapy session. It's my show. The guest's voice rose, echoing through the studio. Your show? So that gives you the right to attack me? Nobody attacked you. Kelly shouted, her professionalism slipping completely. You can't handle being treated like anyone else instead of royalty. Security finally stepped onto the set, tension radiating from every corner. Oh, perfect. The guest sneered. You're calling security on me now? I didn't call anyone, Kelly said coldly. But clearly, someone realized this had gone too far. Ladies, let's take a deep breath, the head of security said calmly, stepping forward. Don't patronize me, the guest snapped. This woman ambushed me, and now she's trying to have me dragged out because she can't handle the truth. Kelly's patience shattered. You've been screaming at me for 20 minutes over a simple question about charity work. You're completely unhinged. Unhinged? You're the manipulator here, the guest howled. The guard intervened gently. Ma'am, we need to de-escalate this. Please, come with me. I'm not going anywhere, the guest insisted, trying to move past him. Not until she apologizes for her behavior. Kelly let out a bitter laugh. Apologize? For asking normal questions? For expecting decency? The guest's fury peaked. For pretending to be sweet while you destroy people behind the scenes. That was enough. Mark stood up, voice low and firm. You need to leave, now. Oh, so the husband finally speaks. The guest spat. How convenient. Nobody attacked you, Mark said evenly. But this ends now. Security began guiding the guest toward the exit as she screamed. This isn't over. Everyone will know who you really are. Kelly stood frozen, her chest heaving as the chaos faded. The audience sat in shocked silence. Finally, Kelly exhaled and sank onto the couch. Mark sat beside her, resting a steadying hand on her shoulder. After a long pause, Kelly looked into the camera and said softly, Well, that certainly wasn't what we had planned for today's show. The audience burst into applause, the tension breaking at last. Kelly managed a weary smile, still trembling from the storm that had just unfolded. One of the most explosive moments in live television history.